I never thought a bunch of overpriced handbags would expose the ugly truth about family favoritism. But that's exactly what happened last spring. The annual cousins shopping spree with my sister-in-law Amanda had become something of a tradition, though I always dreaded it. This year felt different. My daughter Emily was finally old enough to join. Emily, my beautiful creative 16-year-old, had been looking forward to this day for months. "Mom, I can't believe I finally get to go," she'd squealed, hugging her sketchbook to her chest. Aunt Amanda always brings back such amazing things for the others. I forced a smile, trying to ignore the knot forming in my stomach. I knew Amanda's track record with my daughter. The morning of the shopping trip, Emily spent extra time getting ready. She wore her favorite midi dress, the one she'd redesigned herself with hand-painted flowers along the hem. Her curly hair was pulled back with the vintage scarf her grandmother had given her before passing away last year. Looking at her, I felt a fierce pride mixed with anxiety. Emily had always been different from her cousins, more artistic, less concerned with trends and social media status. "Everyone's meeting at the mall at 10, Emily reminded me, practically bouncing with excitement. I nodded, grabbing my keys and trying to push away memories of past family gatherings, where Amanda's subtle digs at Emily had left my daughter fighting back tears. We arrived to find Amanda already holding court with her daughters, Maddie and Jasmine, along with our other sister-in-law Kate's girls, Taylor, Lily, and Sophia. All 5 teens were carbon copies of their mothers, perfectly styled hair, designer clothes, and that particular kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. "Oh, Emily, you're wearing that." Amanda's voice carried that familiar note of false concern. "I thought we discussed proper attire for shopping at luxury boutiques." She gestured at her own daughter's matching channel blazers. Emily's smile dimmed slightly, but she stood straighter. "I painted the flowers myself," she said quietly. "Each one's different, like real flowers would be." Amanda's perfectly penciled eyebrows arched. "How crafty. Well, girls, shall we?" She herded the group toward the high-end section of the mall, her heels clicking purposefully against the marble floors. I started to follow, but Amanda turned. "Sarah, darling, you don't need to stay. I know how these prices make you uncomfortable. I got everything handled." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "It's tradition for the girls to shop with their auntie, isn't it?" Before I could object, Emily squeezed my hand. "It's okay, Mom. I'll text you later." She hurried to catch up with her cousins, her hand-painted dress a bright spot among their designer neutrals. 3 hours later, my phone buzzed with a text from Emily. "Can you pick me up?" Something in those 4 words made my heart sink. I found Emily sitting alone on a bench outside Nordstrom, her eyes red but dry. The others were gathered nearby, each holding distinctive shopping bags with designer logos. Amanda was orchestrating what looked like a photo shoot, her daughters and nieces posing with their new Gucci bags. "Show them off, girls," Amanda trilled. "These are the new season's must-haves. Custom ordered one for each of you." The teens giggled, striking poses with their matching bags. Emily stood as I approached, and I noticed she was clutching her sketchbook tighter than usual. "Where's your bag, sweetie?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "Oh," Amanda's voice carried across the space between us, dripping with fake sympathy. I explained to Emily that these bags are quite exclusive. They're for girls who understand fashion, who maintain a certain image. She gave Emily's curves a pointed look. "Maybe next time, if she works on herself a bit. Diet, exercise, you know." The other girls tittered behind their perfectly manicured hands. Emily's cousins, girls she'd grown up with, shared holidays with, didn't even have the decency to look embarrassed. I felt the rage building, but before I could speak, Emily's quiet voice surprised us all. "It's okay, Aunt Amanda. I actually have other plans for my design." She opened her sketchbook, revealing detailed drawings of handbags, each one unique and beautiful. "I've been working on these for months." Amanda's laugh was sharp. "Oh, honey, drawing bags isn't the same as owning them. These are Gucci. You can't just." She waved her hand dismissively at Emily's sketches. "You're right," Emily said, her voice stronger now. "These aren't Gucci. They're Emily Chen originals." She carefully closed her sketchbook, tucking it under her arm. "Mom, can we stop by the art supply store on the way home? I need some new materials." I wrapped my arm around my daughter's shoulders, turning away from Amanda's smirk and the cousins' snickers. Of course, sweetheart. Whatever you need. As we walked away, I heard Amanda's carrying whisper. Bless her heart, thinking she can design bags. Sarah really should manage her expectations better. In the car, Emily was quiet for a long moment. Then, Mom, remember how Grandma always said talent doesn't shout, it shows? I nodded, thinking of my mother-in-law, who'd always encourage Emily's creativity before she passed away. Well, Emily said, opening her sketchbook again, I think it's time for my work to do some showing. She turned to a page where a handwritten letter peeked out, official letterhead visible at the top. The words New York Fashion Week, catching my eye. My daughter smiled, and for the first time that day, it reached her eyes. I've been waiting for the right time to tell you something. The letter Emily showed me that day changed everything. She had been secretly submitting her designs to a prestigious young designers competition, sponsored by one of the biggest names in fashion. Not only had she won, she'd been invited to showcase her handbag collection at an emerging artists showcase during New York Fashion Week. I wanted to tell you, Emily explained, her voice trembling with excitement, but I was afraid of jinxing it. And she hesitated. I didn't want Aunt Amanda or anyone else to know until everything was ready. Over the next 2 months, our basement transformed into Emily's workshop. The folding table that once held holiday decorations now displayed sketches, fabric swatches, and prototype bags. Emily worked tirelessly after school, her fingers often bandaged from needle pricks, but her eyes shining with determination. Mom, look, she called one evening, holding up her latest creation. It was a stunning clutch made from upcycled materials with hand-painted flowers that seemed to dance across the surface. Each bag tells a story, she explained, running her fingers over the intricate details. This one's about growth, about beautiful things coming from unexpected places. I couldn't help but hear the metaphor in her words. The family, of course, remained oblivious to Emily's project. At our monthly Sunday dinner, Amanda was still holding court, her daughters now carrying their Gucci bags everywhere, even to the bathroom. Girls, Amanda announced, her voice carrying across the dinner table. I've arranged for us all to attend the Fashion Week preview show next month. Well, almost all of us. Her eyes slid meaningfully toward Emily. It's a very exclusive event, you understand. Limited seating. Emily just smiled and took another bite of pot roast. Under the table, I squeezed her hand. It's being held at the plaza, Maddie bragged, checking her reflection in her phone camera. Mom got us VIP passes through her social media connections. How nice, I said mildly, watching Emily's quiet smile grow slightly wider. The weeks flew by in a blur of late nights and creative frenzy. Emily's collection took shape, 12 bags, each one unique, each telling its own story. There was a tote inspired by her grandmother's garden, a messenger bag incorporating vintage kimono fabric, and a stunning evening clutch that seemed to capture starlight in its intricate beadwork. The morning of the Fashion Week preview show arrived bright and clear. Amanda's countless social media posts had ensured everyone knew she and the girls would be attending. Emily and I had our own preparations to make. Ready? I asked, helping Emily pack her collection carefully into specially made boxes. She nodded, but her hands were shaking slightly. What if they laugh at me, Mom? What if Aunt Amanda's right and I'm just being silly? I took her face in my hands, looking into eyes so like her father's. Listen to me. Your grandmother used to say that true talent doesn't need to announce itself. It simply shines. Today, you're going to shine so bright they'll need sunglasses. We arrived at the plaza through the back entrance, where a harried-looking event coordinator whisked Emily away for final preparations. I made my way to the main entrance, arriving just in time to see Amanda and her entourage sweeping through the doors, their designer bags prominently displayed. Sarah, Amanda's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose in surprise. What are you doing here? This is a closed event. I smiled, holding up my pass. Oh, I have an invitation, special access, actually. There must be some mistake. Amanda frowned, examining my badge. Her eyes widened as she read the words designer family access. But, how? Before I could answer, the lights dimmed and a voice came over the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Future of Fashion Showcase, featuring emerging designers selected from over 10,000 applicants worldwide. Amanda and the girls found their seats in the VIP section, still shooting confused glances my way. I sat quietly, watching their faces as the announcer continued. Our next designer represents the youngest talent ever selected for this showcase. Her work challenges our perceptions of luxury, sustainability, and personal expression. Please welcome Emily Chen. The silence that fell over our family section was absolute. Amanda's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, the crystal shattering against the marble floor just as the first model strutted onto the runway, carrying Emily's garden-inspired tote. The craftsmanship was evident even from a distance. The hand-painted flowers seemed to catch the light and bloom before our eyes. The showcase continued, each of Emily's pieces drawing more gasps and applause than the last. From my seat, I could see Amanda's face cycling through shock, disbelief, and something that looked remarkably like fear. Her daughters sat frozen, their matching Gucci bags forgotten at their feet. The final piece was Emily's masterpiece, an evening clutch that captured the essence of a starlit night, with hand-beaded constellations telling the story of her grandmother's favorite myths. As it passed by, I noticed several front-row fashion editors leaning forward, phones raised to capture every detail. When Emily emerged for her final bow, the applause was thunderous. She stood center stage, wearing her own hand-painted dress, looking both nervous and radiant. In that moment, she wasn't just my daughter. She was an artist coming into her own. "That's my cousin," I heard Lily whisper, her voice carrying an odd mix of pride and embarrassment. "The one we didn't invite today." The aftermath was immediate. Fashion bloggers swarmed the venue, all wanting to interview the young prodigy. A distinguished-looking woman in an impeccable suit approached us, introducing herself as the creative director of a major luxury brand. "Your work is extraordinary," she told Emily, handing her a business card. "We'd love to discuss a potential collaboration. Your sustainable approach to luxury is exactly what we've been looking for." Amanda chose that moment to appear, her designer heels clicking rapidly across the marble floor. "Emily, darling," she trittled, arms outstretched. "Why didn't you tell your favorite aunt about this amazing talent of yours? I always knew you were special." Emily stood her ground, clutching her portfolio close. "Did you?" she asked quietly. "Because last month you said I needed to work on myself before I could understand real fashion." Amanda's smile faltered. "Oh, sweetie, you know I was just trying to motivate you. And look how well it worked." She turned to the creative director, extending her hand. "I'm Emily's aunt. I've been mentoring her in fashion for years." The creative director raised an eyebrow, looking between them. "Really?" Because Emily's application essay specifically mentioned how her grandmother inspired her work, teaching her that true luxury isn't about labels, but about creativity and craftsmanship. Amanda's face flushed red. Behind her, I could see her daughters shifting uncomfortably, their matching Gucci bags suddenly looking mass-produced and ordinary compared to Emily's unique creations. "Mom?" Maddie tugged at Amanda's sleeve. "Can we see Emily's bags up close? They're actually really cool." "Absolutely not," Amanda snapped, then immediately tried to soften her tone. "I mean, Emily's probably too busy with all these industry people to spend time with family right now." "Actually," Emily smiled, "I'd love to show you girls my workshop sometime. I'm starting a summer program teaching sustainable fashion design to teens. You're all welcome to join." The girls' faces lit up, but Amanda cut in sharply. "My daughters already have summer plans, very exclusive plans." "That's okay," Emily said, her voice kind but firm. "The invitation stands, because that's what family does. They support each other, even when it's not convenient or trendy." The creative director smiled approvingly. "Well said. Now, shall we discuss that collaboration? We're particularly interested in your sustainable manufacturing process." As Emily walked away with her new mentor, I heard Jasmine whisper, "Mom, can we maybe look at Emily's summer program? These bags are all over social media now." Amanda stood rigid, watching her carefully curated world of designer labels and social hierarchy crumble. Her daughters were already following Emily's Instagram page, liking photos of her design process and sustainable fashion tips. Later that night, as Emily and I celebrated with ice cream in our kitchen, she pulled out her sketchbook. "You know what, Mom? I think Grandma was right about talent showing itself. But she was also right about something else." "What's that, sweetheart?" She always said success is best served with kindness. Emily showed me her newest sketch, a design for a beginner's sewing kit with a guidebook. I really meant what I said about teaching others. Even if Aunt Amanda doesn't let her kids come, I want to help other girls find their creativity. I hugged my daughter, marveling at how she turned exclusion into inclusion, hurt into healing. Her phone buzzed with another message from the creative director, something about a meeting with investors. Emily grinned. Think Aunt Amanda would like to hear about my upcoming collection. It's inspired by the theme of transformation, like when butterflies emerge from cocoons. I laughed, recognizing the subtle dig. Maybe send her an invitation to the show. On recycled paper, of course. Of course, Emily nodded seriously, then broke into giggles. Do you think she's figured out yet that my bags are worth more than her entire Gucci collection? Looking at my daughter, confident, kind, and successful on her own terms, I realized that some things were worth far more than designer labels. Emily hadn't just created a fashion collection, she designed her own path to success, one hand-stitched dream at a time.